Afternoon, everybody. I wanted to make this video this morning, and I figure I should take some time to think, to mull it over, and just talk about this. I don't know what's come over me, but I have this obsession that I'm thinking I should run for Congress. And the main reason is I see what kind of fools we have in there now. Why not me? And the other thing is even though it's not really my temperament as much to be a fighter like this, but as much as I had tremendous respect for John Faso, I think he was a statesman. He was a real, honorable individual who I had tremendous respect for. I think his main mistake and why we lost that seat to a radical Democrat is that he was too bipartisan. He was too centrist. He was too middle of the road. And unfortunately, perhaps we're not in that season right now. And I believe that, ideally, we should be in that season, but it's like Dennis Prager said today, describing those who are running in the Democrat ticket. He said the Communist Party of America. And he said he never said that before, but it's happened. The communists have taken over the Democrat Party, and we should have no shame in standing up against these enemies of America who have infiltrated, become a fifth column in this country. And when we try to be nice and we try to find common ground, we lose. And so I think New York 19 needs somebody who is going to stand together with President Trump. Perhaps even President Trump would have a rally in our district and so forth. That's the kind of candidate that we need in New York 19, because we're not going to win all the crazy hippies by being nice. All we're going to do is lose a lot of people who are like, oh, it's all the same. And I think that's why there has to be these stark differences to show, we have nothing to do with, this Delgado character, he's just like the Squad. If they weren't so sexist, those four girls, they would let him in the Squad. He'd be the fifth Beatle, And but because he's a male, I don't think he's welcome in their Squad. But he's just like them. He is a radical, left-wing radical, and has nothing to do with his race. Has nothing to do with his rap career, this and that. I don't care. Has nothing to do with. But now that he has, he has a record to look at, and we see what kind of things he's voted for. He's voted for all of the left-wing radical things that do not represent New York 19. Meaning we're a rural community. Yeah, there's a lot of city folks who, a lot of these hicksters and who have infiltrated our area. And the thing is, my family, we came from the city, but we always had those rural values. We respect the rural values. We're not trying to bring the city up here, the city values, but rather the rural religious church-going or synagogue-going values, or mosque-going for that matter. As far as I'm concerned, Ilhan Omar and certainly Rashida Tlaib, they're not Muslims. How can a Muslim be part of the Democrat Party that embraces all kinds of things that are considered haram in the Islamic faith? Meaning we have more in common, Christians, Jews, and Muslims, than we don't have in common. And I don't understand how someone who calls himself a Muslim can be part of a party that embraces all kinds of things that the Islamic faith prohibits. And I think the Republican Party has to do a better job in reaching out to Muslims and saying that this is where you belong. And the thing is, the reason why we don't, it's not because we hate Muslims or this or that nonsense like that. The reason is very simple, because the Democrat Party is the party of racism, Jim Crow, KKK. That's their history, slavery. And they're still in that mentality of group think, of there's the blacks and the whites and this and that. And so even as obviously they're not, engaging in discrimination based on race, they're still racist in their mentality, as opposed to the party of Lincoln, which we still are and never stop being, that doesn't care about race. It cares about the individual. It cares about individual liberties and focusing on people as people and not putting you in groups. So with all that being said, these are the things that we have to focus on. But with that being said, we should reach out to the African community and welcome them back home to the party of Lincoln, the party that freed the slaves. It's still the party of Lincoln. As much as the Democrats want to claim that there was some big change, there was never any such change. What changed was that the people in the South stopped being racist. That's what changed. The old racists, they all stayed Democrats, but the vast majority of people in the South are not racist anymore. I see far more racism in New York than I did when I lived in Virginia. I lived in the South. There's no racism there. There's no anti-Semitism. I don't like that term anti-Semitism. Judeophobia is what I prefer, just like the Muslims talk about Islamophobia. We should be referring to Judeophobia, the hatred of our religion, and not racialized Jewish identity. That's a Nazi ideology. That's not a Torah Jewish ideology. To racialize Jewish, anyone from any race can convert to Judaism. Doesn't matter what race you are. What's her name? Ivanka Trump is 100% Jewish. Doesn't matter whether she was born Jewish or not. So basically, I don't know. For years I've always been, whenever I thought about, and I've thought for years about running for office, and even like local office, everyone's, you need a lot of money and this and that, and it's really hard, and you need the connections and this and that. But I was like, how the heck did AOC get in there? How did this Delgado guy get in there? How did any of these people get in there? How did Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar or any of these people get into the House? I don't get it. John Faso was that old-fashioned, well-connected political guy. And is that era over? I know in order you have to collect a number of signatures. I'm thinking, should I do it? I don't know. Try to get on the ballot for primary. I don't know is there, who's running against Delgado. We got to get rid of him. This guy is horrible. And again, I don't care. It's like Dennis Prager said the other day. I would rather have 9 black lesbians who were originalists on the Supreme Court and following the Constitution and in the conservative way, than to have 9 white male leftists. It's not about race, it's about ideology. And they think they can hide behind their race. And what we should really be doing is building coalitions, meaning Jews and Christians, especially Orthodox Jews and devout Christians, whether they be Protestant or traditional Catholic Orthodox, we're doing pretty well in our coalition building currently. The Muslims, not as much, and we should be, because we have a lot in common with them, and we should be building coalitions with them. The African American community, they're church-going people for the most part. We got to be reaching out to them. The Democrats, they're all laughing at. They think it's a joke the way when they go to a black church. They don't. But they got to pay lip service like they do to the Orthodox Jews. Schumer showing up at the Chaf of the Chaf of Kislev, type of thing. It's not, it's a Gelächter by we gotta build coalitions, especially in a district like New York 19, which is a rural district. We should be able to reach out. And the thing is we're not only representing the religious people, religious Christians, religious Jews, and also religious Muslims, but also we're reaching out to really everybody, meaning we're, essentially the more libertarian ideology, classical liberal ideology of the Republican Party should be the natural place for a lot of groups that are traditionally Democrats. Whether it be people who identify with the LGBTQ communities, whether it be all kinds of more liberal type of people, all the hippies, who used to say, don't trust anyone over 30 and, don't trust the man, and now they're like, oh, they want to give the government all kinds of power, take away our guns. And this is, are you crazy? That's not gonna, that's everything you fought against, back in the day, so we have to build those bridges, reach out, not by being nice, but by telling the truth and being real, and calling out who the real racists are. Just because someone has black skin doesn't mean they can't be a racist. Just because someone wears a hijab doesn't mean they're really Muslim. How is she submitting to God by following the godless party of the Democrats that took out, under God and so help me God and so forth out of their platform? They're pushing God away. How can someone who prays to God 5 times a day want to have fellowship with such a party? So I don't know. I don't know how I'll do it. I don't know, but I'm really thinking about maybe I should run for Congress. I don't know. I don't know. The only thing is, maybe I have a lot of skeletons in my closet. I'm opening myself up to major attacks by doing that. But maybe it's worth it to be a martyr, to save my congressional district, to save America from these Democrats who are communists, who are the same people who murdered more than the Nazis, and the Nazis were also socialists. You know, that national part is only, you know, an adjective. The noun of who they were socialists. And just because they hated the communists, that's no different than Lenin and Trotsky hating each other. They both had the same ideology, but the question was who's going to be the more powerful one of the two. That's all it is, and that's the same thing that we're seeing going on, and has been going on in America for all this time. You know, as the Democrats have been going further left, and we don't hear as much about the alt-right anymore, but essentially the alt-right is also a left-wing type of ideology when compared with the more libertarian American ideology of the American right. That's why they call it the alternative right, because they want to replace the traditional American right with a more European quote-unquote right, which is really just a variation of the left. So tell me what you think. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you all later. Take care.